Most billionaires don't fly Gulfstreams, and here's their secret weapon. This is the title of today's video, and let's dive straight in to the situation. My name is Fabrizio Poli, Aviation Advisor, and also the founder of Budget TV, the author of Be Aware But Don't Care, and also The Quantum Economy. So let's get into and talk about one billionaire in particular that we've had on the channel a number of times, and that is Grant Cardone. Now, Grant has been a great advocate for Gulfstream, starting off with his Gulfstream G200, flew that around for a few years. He always talks about, that was his best decision, is to ditch flying commercial and start flying private. It helped him really grow his business exponentially. He then sold the G200, bought a G550, flew around in that for a while, and then sold that to move on to the Gulfstream G650. And just recently, he sold his Gulfstream G650 to buy, guess what, a Global 7500. So for the first time, Grant's switching from Gulfstream to Bombardier. Now, why is he doing this? Now, some people are speculating, saying, oh, he's doing that because of the bonus depreciation, because obviously he probably got about 45 million for his G650, and he's spending, 60 plus million on a pre-owned Global 7500, and that could be one of the reasons. But when we look at the technicalities and the differences between these aircraft, what you have to understand is, people talk about speed and range, and the Global 7500, which now has been rebaptized the Global 8000, flies 8,000 miles. During flight testing, it actually went faster than the sound barrier, than the speed of sound, and these kind of things. Yes, okay, but at that level, when you've got that kind of money and you're in the billions, whether the aircraft flies at 0.94 or 0.93 Mach, or whether it can fly 7,500 miles instead of 7,250, that really is not important. What is important for these people is the experience you have on the aircraft. Now, the number one reason people buy aircraft and use private jets is to save time. So if you can land at on a shorter runway and take off from a shorter runway, that does give you an advantage, which is what's happening with the Global 7500, the Global 8000, because this airplane basically has a really unique wing design, and because of the aerodynamics on the wings, it gives you a smoother ride up at altitude, and that gives you a better experience on the aircraft. It allows you to land and take off in shorter runways than the Gulfstream G650, but even better than performance than the Gulfstream G700 series. So that's one aspect, which obviously is now giving you more flexibility because you've got more airports available. The other thing is the number of windows that Bombardier put on this aircraft. There's a lot of windows, 28 windows, which brings more light into the cabin, and light is what, as human beings, we love light, okay? That's one aspect. The other thing is the way they designed the cabin, they managed to bring the cabin altitude down to 2,800 feet at altitude. So what does that mean? That means that on these long journeys, these 12, 13-hour flights, you basically have got more oxygen in the cabin. Now, when you're flying on an airliner, the cabin altitude is around about 8,000 feet. So between 8,000 and 2,800, there's a big difference there. So there's going to be more oxygen in the cabin. So when you get off the airplane, you're going to feel more rested. Also, the way they've designed the cabin at the back, you've got like a stateroom with a shower, a bit like you do on the Boeing business jet. Now, of course, as I always say to people, if there's 10, 12 of you traveling, the Global 7500 is not the airplane for you. You need to go Boeing business jet or Airbus corporate jet, just because of you need size with that many people, and there's always an issue with the galley. But if there's just 4 or 5 of you flying around, like is the case with Grant, he's usually flying around with his wife and his 2 daughters. There's usually 4 of them. Sometimes they bring a couple of friends, 2 or 3 friends. So there's about 6 of them. The Global 7500 does the job. Galley area is nice. Got a bathroom at the front, one at the back. Large cabin, as I said. Operating costs between the Gulfstreams and the Globals, yeah, there's only a slight difference. But this airplane, and I've spoken to a number of people that have flown it, they said, from a technological standpoint, it's a great airplane. The other thing is, what they've done with the Global Express, they've got the Garmin avionics up front, which are great, very user friendly. There's a lot less workload for the pilots on the Global than on the Gulfstreams, and this is a great thing. I mean, just to give you an example, when an engine fails, usually the right engine is getting fuel from the right wing, the left engine gets fuel from the left wing. So if an engine fails, obviously the left engine's failed, okay? So you're just consuming fuel from the right wing. So there could be a fuel imbalance. So at a certain point you have to do what's called open the cross valve, so you can feed fuel from the left wing into the right engine. On a Gulfstream, like even on a Boeing, you have to manually do that. In the Bombardier, the computer that's built into the airplane does that automatically for you. So you don't have to think about it. That's just one bit of workload, and there's many other examples like this. So the pilots are more rested because of that, and also because of the cabin altitude. So these are kind of the advantages, and this is why people and the billionaires are switching to the Bombardier aircraft. Now, between Bombardier and Gulfstream, I must say that if you are buying an older aircraft, Gulfstream will be giving you better customer service as far as, you know, fixing airplanes when they break down, because all airplanes break down. But, you know, the Global 7500 has got a very good high dispatch rate, so it doesn't break down very often. All the people that I know that are flying it say it's great from a passenger perspective and a pilot perspective. And this is why this airplane is doing very, very well on the market. And now, of course, with the situation in America where bonus depreciation is something that you can write off 100% of the depreciation. If you buy the aircraft this year and you put the aircraft into operation for a business flight before the 31st, the end of the 31st of December of this year, which means you need to start moving now. Now, there are a few on the market. There are some off market. If you want to go down this route, you can reach out to me. Ping me an email. We'll get on a one-to-one call. First of all, assess if this is the right choice for you, and then go out there and find the right airplane. But, you know, as I always say, the pilots are more important than the plane. It's quite expensive to train pilots to fly the Global 7500. But certainly that's really important to understand. And I keep saying this here on BizJet TV. Some people listen, some people don't. The human factor is key. I mean, look at all these accidents that have happened recently. The accident that happened in India with the Air India 787. It's looking like it could be the pilots. It's either the pilot's fault or the airplane got hacked. It's one of the two. And I've been saying this for a number of weeks. So, you know, the pilots are really, really important. But, you know, the airplane that these billionaires now are choosing to fly is the Global 7500 or Global 8000, which is the newer version. And these are the reasons why. So let's get the conversation going here. What do you think between, is this Global 7500 really the best of the best? But of course, we also have Dassault coming on the scene with their 10X, which will be hitting the market in a few years' time as soon as it gets certified and delivered. But that won't happen. At least we won't see any of those aircraft on the pre-owned market for another 4 or 5 years, if not longer. So at the moment, the Global 7500 is dominating the market. And that's all from Fabrizio Pauli here on BizJet TV. Check out this video, other video we did recently. I'm sure you'll enjoy it. And remember to subscribe to the channel and share this content with your friends, family, and other business people so we can get the word out there and get more people watching BizJet TV. And I'll see you on the next one.